Hey, what's going on, everybody? Alex here with Freedom Mowers, and I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Those who have been here, I appreciate the subscription and the comments and all the love. And if you are new here and you guys like fixing up mowers, fixing up small engine equipment, you know, will it run type content, you know, maybe think about subscribing to the channel. And if you do, hit that drop down bell. That way you guys get notified. I try to upload 2 videos a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. So appreciate y'all checking it out. Today we are going to be working on a 2004 DYT4000 Craftsman. And this mower has been sitting and is an absolute mess. I pulled this out of a field when I went and got that 22 push mower haul a while back, and I think this was about the only riding mower that was possibly savable out of the 3 that he had. 3 of the tires hold air. I put a valve stem in the right rear yesterday and it's still not holding air, so I think what I'm going to do is either slime it or possibly try some ATF in there and see if that'll hold air. The deck spindles are free and don't have any noise to them, so that's good, but it is missing a blade. This has the 18.5 single cylinder intake on it. The fuel pump has been removed. It is a rear tank machine. Let's see what else is going on with this. I did hook a jumper pack to it, and the PTO magnet does engage, but there is no deck belt, so I'll have to buy a deck belt for it if this even runs. And the hour meter is showing 670 hours, but I'll give you guys a little closer look here. I mean, it is filthy. This thing has been sitting for quite some time. You know, if it does work, probably take the deck off from it, sand it down a little bit, paint that, get everything up as best as I can cleaned up on it. It does have good compression. It's a little bit hard to turn by hand when you get to that compression stroke, so I'm hoping the compression release is good on it. And the valve cover is just like totally caked in oil, so I don't know if that was leaking beforehand. But the one thing that he told me when I did get it is that the starter was broken, and you guys can see the starter teeth are completely gone off from it. And there's a few chunks of the starter gear. But I did order a new starter, and I've had that on hand for a few weeks now, and I was just kind of waiting to get to this machine. So I've got a new starter for it. See if we can't at least get the motor to fire up, and then we'll kind of assess things as we go. Guess they kind of made a homemade mulching deck with this, but it's like some super thin tin, and you can see that this part of the deck has been broken, so that would need to be bent down and welded, which I can handle that. And the rear end, I think the brakes are locked up on it right now, and also the arm that engages and disengages the hydro on it is kind of seized up. So there's a possibility I might be taking the rear decking off from it and getting a good look at the fuel tank and into the transaxle and everything on it. But I'll go ahead and get you guys set up. We're gonna get the new starter put on, and then once that is on, we'll see if this is gonna turn over and go from there. I'm not gonna bore you guys necessarily with the starter change on it. It's just gonna be these 2 1/2" or Torx head bolts, and then the hot lead coming off from it. And here's the new starter right here. So I'll just get that popped on there, and we'll see if this will turn over. All right, I got the new starter on there, and took the top cover off and the hood so we could see a little bit better. It's low on the stick, and it's pretty dark, which is not surprising. So see if we can get it turned over, and then see what's going on with it, and then I'll put some oil in there before trying to run it. Thing is like rubbing up against the flywheel here. I don't really want that colliding with it. I think that should be okay. Alright, let's see. Set the brake. Alright. Well, let's see if it'll turn over. Sweet. Sounds like it wants to turn over pretty easy. Alright, well, let me throw just a little splash of oil in there, and we'll try to drop some fuel down into the throat there and see if we can't get it to fire off, see if it's got spark. Looks like they've already had a little issue before, maybe with the wire sitting on the heat fins. Alright, I've got the oil filled up about halfway on the dipstick. I don't want to put a ton in there because I know we're going to be changing it anyway. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing to fire off. You guys seen in my other videos, normally just run either some gas or some two-stroke mix in a water bottle, and I've just got a little pinhole in here that I can squirt down in, so I'll see if we can't put a little down here in the throat and see what happens. Make sure I got all the safeties, and should be PTOs disengaged. We've got the brakes set. I'm having a hard time getting enough fuel down into the carburetor because of it's got the intake tube that curves around. So let's see. There we go. Sound like it kicked over that time. Might try a little starting fluid just to see, because I'm having a hard time getting that gas down in there. Try a little ether. As I trip over the anti-scalp wheel. Awesome. I was just going to show you guys, I was having a hard time because the intake tube, it curves down, and you got to get fuel all the way down into the cylinder head. And I couldn't really get it with the bottle. It was just kind of pooling up there in the front. Yeah, that's awesome. I really wasn't expecting I was not expecting it to sound that healthy. I mean, looking at the rest of this tractor, it actually was pretty quiet too. Sweet. So I'm not really sure what was going on here with the valve cover as far as all this oil. I may pop that off and just take a look at the gasket on it and get that cleaned up. I'm not sure. I may have a gasket for that, but I can always use some RTV on those as well. But it seemed like it had no issue starting up with the compression release or anything like that. So I guess our next step would be fuel system on here, and just looking at the barb here, or the barbs on the fitting of this carburetor. I'm only assuming this thing is going to be a mess on the inside. So I guess we'll go ahead and start taking that off. I'll just show you guys taking this off from here, and I'll go ahead and get the ultrasonic cleaner warmed up, and that way I can probably just throw this in the ultrasonic cleaner and take it from there. I think what I'm gonna do, I was just thinking about it, is I have another tank that we can just use as like a temporary tank for up here if I need to, and just run a fuel line to the carburetor if we're able to get that cleaned up enough to run it, until we can get to the back and take that tank out and take a look at it and get that cleaned up. So let's go ahead and get this carb off and try to get that thing cleaned up. All right, I've got this crow over here that's making all kinds of noise. I'm sure you guys can hear it. Should just have these two 7/16 nuts, and then once we get those, we can, oh, and the anti-backfire solenoid. And then you got your breather hose. Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. That's just the 7/16 to get the intake tube off. And then we've got, what were these, I believe these are 5/16. And I keep in my little small engine box a deep well in there just for this purpose. So you got the two 7/16 on the outside, and that takes off the this little intake tube, and then you got the two 5/16 studs. Those come out. Then your choke linkage comes out of that governor area, and then you just gotta take out your throttle arm, get it at the right angle, and then try not to bend up your governor spring there, and that's it. So carb's off, take this over to the bench, and we'll crack this thing open and see what it looks like. Alright guys, well, it took me a while to find the right wrench, and then I got a phone call in between, so didn't get a chance to open this up yet. But these are kind of hard to find a wrench for. I'm actually using a little cheapo 13mm, but it's supposed to be a 1/2 inch, and a lot of times you'll have to, if you don't have a specialty wrench for it, you'd have to file down the edges, because most of these don't fit. They're too fat to fit between the housing of the anti-backfire. But I couldn't remember where I put my wrench, so now I got it, and I'm gonna leave it. I was looking at the inside of this, and it actually looks pretty clean, and because the fuel pump wasn't hooked up on there, I'm not sure if you know, maybe this thing's in fairly good shape on the inside. I mean, I know the outside's filthy, but trying not to tear the gasket here, but it looks like it's totally rotten anyway. Yeah, this carburetor's, look at all the rust in there. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is throw this one in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I have in my stash of old carburetors, I don't know how good it is, but I do have another Walboro carburetor, and I might just give this a shot to see if we can get it to run on its own fuel for a few minutes, and see if this one's going to be salvageable in the meantime. So I'll probably just go ahead and throw this one on here and put up a temporary fuel tank, and I'll show you guys once I got that set up. Alright, well, I'll show you guys what I got set up here. I just put some fuel down in here. This is just a little temporary tank, and just ran a line down here with a shut off. So we'll go ahead and open the shut off. See if we can't get this carburetor bowl to fill. I didn't even open up this carb, so actually, let's see here. Oh yeah, there you go. It's pouring out. Like, the float must be stuck in there. Alright, seems to be holding here for a second. Alright, let's give it a shot. I'll put you guys on the tripod. Alright. I bet that anti-backfire valve is sticking in there. So it's letting the bowl fill up a little bit and it's draining it too quick. I didn't think this carb was really gonna work too well. I just wanted to see if I could get something on here and run some fuel through it. So motor sounds good. We'll try it again a couple more times, and I really want to try to jump on here and see if this transaxle is gonna move. I might try to see if I can get this thing to budge with the with it running on choke just for a second. yeah, transmission's not moving at all, but it might be that the brake is either totally seized or the rod here is stuck in the pulled out position, which I think it might be. So have to delve into that and see if I can get that free. But let me see how much work it's going to be getting into that, or if we will leave off here on part 1 with at least getting this up and somewhat running. You know, kind of at this point just trying to see if it was worth salvaging, and so far it's looking fairly good. As long as the hydrostatic trans works on it, I think we should be in pretty good shape. So let me turn you guys off for a minute, figure out what the next step's gonna be, and we'll go from there. All right guys, well, I figured out why it would not go into drive, and I was able to move the selector to engage or disengage the hydrostatic on there, and I made a super novice mistake, which I actually got confused because this lawnmower did come with a parts LT1000, which was a 6-speed, but it did have a drive belt on it. There's no drive belt on this machine, so obviously the hydro, it's not going to work without a drive belt on it. So I guess I'm going to have to figure out which drive belt is going to go on this, and then I'll get that on order, or see if that's something I can pick up here locally, and we'll at least get the belt in and work on seeing if I can get a carb to work on this. But I feel like I've made pretty good progress in part 1 here. We got at least the motor we know is good on it, and I do know the PTO works, and the deck will be good when I get a belt for that. The main issue now is just making sure that the rear transaxle is going to work, and then everything else can be kind of fixed from there. So I will have to order some parts for this, and then we will continue on in part 2. So I appreciate you guys checking out the video, and thank you guys for the comments and my other stuff, and all the love you guys have been showing in my videos. And if you are new here, like I said in the beginning, please think about subscribing if you like this content, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, take care.